Do you want to know how to be a better parent without yelling? Well, today I'm going to be reacting to one of the episodes I starred in on the world's strictest parents back in 2009 when I was able to help out-of-control teens who came to stay in my home from England become calm without having to yell. Many people want to know how to be a better parent without yelling. And they ask me this kind of question all the time because I was on a program back in 2009 called The World's Strictest Parents. And usually these programs have a lot of contention. They take two troubled teens from the UK, they put them in a home somewhere else in the world, and they expect sparks to fly. But in our family, the sparks only flew on one side. And the parents remained calm all the time. In fact, people were so amazed by this, our episode of The World's Strictest Parents ended up becoming the most watched episode that they had ever had on the BBC. In fact, they asked me multiple times, Nicholeen, do you have any friends who parent exactly like you that we could make an episode with them too? They realized after they created our episode of the program that people wanted to see calmness was possible, not just the sparks that were flying. But in this particular reaction video today, I'm going to actually show you the part where the most sparks flew so that you can see it. Now, just to lay the foundation for you a little bit, this is where we're at. So this is day one, okay? Hannah and James from England came to our home in the Mountain West to stay with us for 8 days. They are jet lagged. They had alcohol in the morning before they even came to our house. They are accepting our family rules. We're trying to. James did, but Hannah did not accept our family rules. Rules such as that they can't smoke because that's one of our family rules. Now, we were told we had to treat them as if they were our children. So if they were just visitors, obviously we'd be like, yeah, go have a smoke break, or yeah, go ahead and, change your clothes or whatever. Well, the clothes thing became a really big deal for Hannah. And we know that with our children, especially when they're in their teens, clothes seem like such an important thing for them. Well, she really decided to fly off the handle at that point, and she went completely out of control. And we're going to see some of her out of control actions. And then what I'm going to explain to you is how I handled it, how we helped her get calm and accept her consequences. At this point, she has lost all of her privileges for 24 hours because that's our big whammy consequence in our family. So we have 3 different negative consequences that they can earn when they choose to go out of instructional control, which means that they won't follow an instruction. Well, she is not following instructions. She's definitely out of control. She's emotionally getting herself all worked up and fighting and power struggling instead of wanting to discuss things calmly with us, which we repeatedly told her that she needed to do. So now she's just basically taking herself over the edge right here. Let's take a watch and then we'll explain what I did to help her find calmness and how we handled the situation with her afterward. Okay, here we go.
James leaves with Spencer to get to the family gathering on time. Nicholeen is left to face the wrath of Hannah.
Actually, yeah, I'd say come here to change, but you can't just expect me to change like that.
Right now, just about everything that I say, you're arguing with.
You make me feel like you're ashamed to take me as myself, to see your family like it's some special thing.
Okay. So here we have a conversation between me and Hannah, and she is really frustrated that she's had to accept this no answer. In fact, I got the impression at this time, I'm like, she has not had to accept very many consequences. I can tell, and there is nothing she can do about this because she doesn't know where it is in the mountains. She doesn't know where to go. Her buddy has now left her. So she's all on her own. She has to focus on herself. She can't play off of James anymore. So now it's up to her and it's up to me to try to help her be calm. Now you can hear my calm voice. I use a calm voice on purpose to make sure that I give the message, this is calm. We need to be calm right now. In fact, there's a statement that I always say, and you don't hear me say it here, but I promise you I said it multiple times. And the statement was, it seems to me that you want to tell me something, and I want to know what that is, but we need to choose to be calm first. Then we can talk about it. So always pointing her toward calm. She had already gone completely out of instructional control. She had earned the largest negative consequence that she could earn in our family. You know, it's not like I could just keep upping the ante on her, and that's not beneficial anyway. And yelling at her would do nothing. In fact, if I yelled at her right now, I knew that she would feel powerful. She would feel like, oh, good, I got her to engage into this power struggle. And I know that's how they feel. I know because I have worked with troubled teens for a lot of years, and they all explain at one point or another that they're so glad that they don't have to worry about those power struggles anymore. And they explain what they go through. In fact, a couple of days later, we see Hannah. Well, actually, you don't see her in the program, but I see Hannah. Hannah and I had an experience where we were making muffins and jam and stuff like that. And they filmed it, but it didn't make it into the cut. But I said to Hannah, Hannah, for 2 days you've been out of control and, completely getting angry and upset and running off. And now all of a sudden you're just calm. Why? And she said, well, at my house, if I yell, I get my way, or at least somebody yells back. But here you guys were just so calm. It didn't work. That's the power of calm. Yelling does not work. And she even said it. I wish they would have put just that one bit on the show. It would have been a message for parents everywhere. Anyway, so I'm telling her what she's doing. You're not being calm right now. You're getting angry. And then she's saying, yeah, but it's like you don't even want to take the real me to see your family. And she's saying the real her is that anger. And that's not the real her. In fact, I think a lot of people think all of their emotions are the real them. That's not the real Hannah. The real Hannah we see later when she reads stories to London and Porter, and she behaves in such a nurturing, kind way. And she's sweet to James and watches out for him. And, and she asks me, hey, do you think I could be like you one day? That's the real Hannah. But right now we're seeing what they call the wrath of Hannah. This is Hannah going, I'm going to try to power struggle my way out of this. I'm going to show people how strong I am because she thinks it's strong, but it's not really strong. And when she meets calmness, she realizes she cannot win this. So then let's see what happens once I'm talking to her about calm and I'm not engaging with her in the power struggle. Let's look.
That's why I'm pissed off with you.
Which is why it's probably not wise for us to go then.
Sam, let's go then. I'm going out in a bit, Gator. Don't suck my fat, you
She's very strong opinions, and that she pretty much only cares about her image. And I hope if she ever decides to let down her wall just a little bit, that we can show her something bigger to care about, something better. I mean, family, relationships, those things are all way more important than somebody's image. And I hope she gets that.
She's made me cover all my body up. She's just...
Okay, so we see Hannah. I'm talking to her about getting calm. I'm telling her, Hannah, we can talk about all of this. We can talk about your clothes and everything, but we need to get calm. And she's like, I don't want to get calm. And so she runs off. And then you see her walking down the driveway, shouting some beep, beep, beep expletives. And that's the biggest tantrum of the whole show right there. And so we see she has run away. So you're seeing her at the end. She's out on one of the side streets. It's literally behind my house. It's not very far away, but that's the only place she dared to run. She just wants to get away. And truthfully, I think she probably wanted to go and smoke too, because she is in the habit of thinking that if she feels stress, she needs a chemical to make her feel better. She doesn't have the skills yet for how to regulate herself, how to keep herself calm, and how to navigate through a situation or problem solve through a situation without being somehow chemically altered. Whether it's her own body chemicals, her anger, or whether it's outside chemicals that she brings in through smoking or drugs or drinking or whatever to try to get rid of her problems. So we're going to teach her and James throughout the stay in our home how to control themselves without chemical adjustments, but instead through using their own will. That strong will that she's got is exactly what she needs to harness in order to learn self-mastery and self-control over herself. So, did I chase her? No, I didn't chase her. Of course, the camera crew chased her, so that was nice. They have to keep track of them, but I don't chase runaways, and they know that. I tell them ahead of time, if you have to run away, I'm not going to chase you. That's how it is, and you'll have to come back when you're ready. Anyway, so she ran off, and she is frustrated right now. Now, she kept making it about the clothes. I hope you see that. She kept making about the clothes, even though I was talking to her about her attitude, about being calm, and I was trying to focus her on the calmness, describing that she wasn't being calm, telling her what she needed to do to be calm. And there was a process that I went through with her. You didn't get to see that process in the video, but she would not drop the subject about the clothes. She was going to die on that wall, so she ran off. And guess what? You don't get to see this in the video, but when she came back, let me tell you what happened. She was gone for, about 15, 20 minutes. She came back and she said, okay, fine, I'm gonna be calm. And then she wasn't calm. And she went and threw herself on the bed and she fell asleep instantly. And it was still light outside. I mean, she was that jet lagged, poor thing. And I knew she didn't have any privileges, so I thought, well, she's going to sleep early. I'll wake her up early. So I went in and woke her up at like 6 a.m. to accept her consequences, which was to do a day's worth of work. And you know what? She and I got up and we worked together and we had some beautiful conversations, some beautiful training moments about calmness. She changed her whole attitude at that moment and we got a chance to bond. So, when you're correcting your children and helping them overcome their problems, you can actually bond to them. I always tell people you should feel closer to your children during and after a correction than you even did before. And that's because the whole time I'm looking at Hannah here, I'm actually saying words to her in calmness, but I'm also thinking in my mind, I love you, Hannah. I love you. It's okay. I love you. So do you want to not yell at your children? That's what you do. Always think of how much you love them in your heart. You have the words to say that will keep you on a script that will not make it so that you say those things in your mind that might show you're taking things personally. You do not engage in power struggles. You can't, because that teaches them that what they're doing works, that they are being powerful. They need to harness the power within, the power to govern themselves. If you want to learn more about this power of self-government, I highly recommend going to teachingselfgovernment.com. There are great resources there. There's courses. My Teaching Self-Government Parenting course teaches parents how to be calm when their children aren't and how to help the children get calm at the same time. It is possible, but you have to work on it. It's a skill. If you don't want to yell anymore, if you don't want to be that mom or that dad that loses control, and you want to have more of an impact with your children, you've got to learn the skills that you need. So what's going on at your house? What are you yelling at? Put it in the comments. Let me know. See if I can help you in those comments. Write some things down that are going on at your house. Give me a thumbs up if this was helpful today. And if you want to find out more, go to teachingselfgovernment.com. If you want to see more World's Strictest Parents reaction videos, then click on the link. I've got more of them.